Hello, Kerstin.
Hello, Camilla. Good evening.
Good evening. Here we are again on the 14th of August, and we've had the 24th hearing today. We're standing here in a graveyard, a very pretty graveyard, trying to figure out whether justice is passed away, or is it still, does it still function? We don't know, because at the moment we don't know anymore what is going on in the courts. Today was even more remarkable than last time, because last time we got little snippets of what was submitted in terms of requests for evidence or requests for witnesses. But today it started almost immediately with the judges going back to the back room
very quickly,
to read. Then they came back. Then there was a 15-minute break or a half an hour break.
A little long. I think a little longer. Even the first one was already quite long, no?
Yeah, but there was the first one where they didn't really announce. They just went back, and we stayed, and then they came back.
Yes.
And then
10 minutes,
and then we hardly anything was hardly said, and we already had a break for an hour.
Right.
And we started late.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we started after 10, I think.
Quarter to.
I mean it was even a quarter.
Something.
Yeah. But then it was even a quarter to 11 when it actually started, because the Christophe Miseré was not really there. Not really, but he was not there actually.
In spirit, he was.
Yeah, and so it was Katja Wermer and Tobias Pohl, right? And they went downstairs with Rainer Füllmich, discussing some topics, I think.
Yeah, there was a whole stack of requests for evidence or questions or whatever that was submitted to the judges, but they Pohl and Katja Wermer, the two lawyers, hadn't discussed it yet with Rainer Füllmich.
Yes.
So they needed time to read it to him to see if it was okay with him. So that was the hour break.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about even the very beginning, because in the beginning it was supposed to start at 10.
Yeah.
Because of Katja Wermer was again there was a storm on the highway and problems. And then at 10 actually didn't start either, because we waited for another 40 minutes.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
actually started quarter to 11.
Right.
Yeah,
That's and I mean this part they went downstairs with Rainer Füllmich discussing the situation, and then actually the entire session was opened at about a quarter to 11, right?
Yeah, and the reason they went down with Rainer Füllmich was because Professor Martin Schwab was supposed to have been there for a witness statement, but something had gone wrong. It wasn't actually the court that requested his being there, but it was the lawyers of Rainer Füllmich. It's a Selbsteinladung oder so. And so Katja Wermer said that she immediately invited him to come through official channels the day after the last hearing.
Yeah.
But somehow he hadn't received it. So Martin Schwab wasn't there, and that was the commotion. That was the initial commotion. What now? What is then this hearing about if it's not about the witness?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, so that was then that was the start. Then it started at quarter to 11. Sorry that it's a bit muddled up, but it's muddled up in our brains as well, because there's so much getting up and go and in and out.
Yeah.
And then when it started at quarter to 11, then there was this quick going back from the judges. Then the judges came back, and then very soon it was an hour break until almost lunchtime.
Yeah.
And then it went on for, well, we have to check our notes, but not very long.
Very, very shortly. I think it was a few minutes. Wasn't it the moment when it was really only 1 minute? There was a really very, very short period of hearing between the 1 hour break and the other break that was actually one and a half hour, right?
Yeah, that was the lunch break.
It was the lunch break.
Yeah.
But a longer lunch break, because they had to read again.
Yeah. So the judges go back to their room to read whatever was submitted. So they're still working. They are, they're the only ones who know what's going on in the case, together with the lawyers. And in the audience and as the press, we're just sitting there thinking, all right, something has been handed over. Now the judges disappear, so we now leave the room and then we come back. So we had a lunch break until 2.
Right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah, it was reopened, I think, a little bit after 2:00.
Yeah, it was later than 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was for about maybe 20 minutes, no?
Yeah, and at 2:23.
No, even less than 20 minutes. It was really, again, a few minutes. And it's really hard to figure out what really happened in these few minutes, because the judge is always asking, do you have other requests? Are there any other requests? And I think Katja Wermer said there will be another request by Christophe Misery, but who wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then pretty quickly, I don't know if I forgot something.
Well, no, not. But I mean, the problem is because we don't hear what's being requested.
Right.
We don't hear the comments of the judges because they will just comment on it in the final judgment.
Yeah.
And because the state prosecutors for the last 3 sessions don't have any questions, there is no oral, verbal exchange of content. And then Rainer, so the judge was busy closing the session, and then Rainer said, but hang on a second, I mean, I need to know what is now the position of the court. Do you believe that the agreements, the loan agreements Viviane Fischer and he signed, does the court believe that they were fakes? Or what is actually the position at the moment? Because I don't know what to react to.
Right.
And then there was a bit of a irritated going back and forth between the judge and Rainer Füllmich.
Yes.
Because the judge didn't want to, he said, well, your lawyers will tell you. And then Rainer Füllmich said, yeah, but they might misunderstand you, so I need to know from you.
Well, they don't understand either, because nobody really knows what the actual position of the court is.
No.
Right?
No. Because they're not reacting to any of the requests.
Right. And Rainer Füllmich said as well, if it's not within the hearing, where can I ask my questions?
Yes.
And he was again told, well, you have to put this in a written way, in a written way. But he said, well, but if I don't understand, what is the hearing actually about?
At this point.
At this point, right? Yeah.
Because it has changed a little bit.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was. I mean, this is a bewildered sort of interview, but this is our impression of it, is we're a bit bewildered, and we're even more bewildered by the ending, because then all of a sudden the judge cut Rainer Füllmich short and he said, well, this session is now closed, and he got up and he left to the back room, and the 2 other judges remained seated, the state prosecutors remained seated. We were all like, what just happened?
Yeah.
But according to Katja Wermer, it wasn't as surprising because he had already announced that he was going to close. But it just seemed very odd. Usually when they close, all the 3 or 5 judges actually, they get up together and they leave, in a row to the back.
Yeah, and I mean they make some announcement about the next hearing. Well, he did that, but it was not very. It was just one very quick sentence, and it was what is it actually about?
Yeah.
And then he already left the room, and everybody, I mean, even the other judges, as you said, and even the prosecutors were like, "What's that?
What just happened?"
He just left.
Yeah. And he did come back later, but we didn't see that.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was an eventful day, although, we don't know what went on really in terms of content.
Yeah.
Katja Wermer explained it a little bit in an interview you did with her in German. So please watch that interview if you speak German. And I don't know, we'll see what happens. There's this hearing on the 20th, although it's not very clear what is going to happen on the 20th.
Right.
Professor Martin Schwab is invited for the 23rd. So in the same week there will be 2 hearings.
But it's a Friday. It will be and that would be a short day, because Fridays are always until 12 o'clock.
Yeah. So the hearing of Martin Schwab will not be longer than that.
No.
So we'll keep you posted.
And I mean, there was some interesting thing anyway going on afterwards, because we were all a little bit. I mean, we don't interpret this. No, interpret this in a how do you say that, in a juridique.
In a legal sense, or
yes, in a legal way. So just Katja Wermer, actually the lawyers observed this situation a little bit differently, but for us it was like like a furious child leaving the room, right? And it was like, at least for a lot of people, it was like that. And then we, as the press, we were 5 today in the Free Press, and the spectators, the public. We decided, well, what are we going to do now? And there was Arne Schmidt in the with us in the press. We were actually 6, no 5, and he's a piano player, and he's used to do how do you call that?
Pop-up sort of music things, or
yes, right. And well, he called the police then, and he asked to do there is some legal way of doing very quickly protests, yes, reunions, or how do you call that, meetings, and the police said, well, yes, you can do that in front of the court if you stay on this place. And so we did it, and like 10 minutes afterwards there was a, how do you call that,
a gathering,
yes,
of the supporters. And so he had his pull-out piano,
right,
pulled it out from the car like a portable piano. And there were speeches, and there were some songs, and so that was a
and
sort
banners, big banners.
Yeah. So that was an uplifting part of the day,
right?
For everybody to sort of feel like, at least we understand this part.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, that was it.
That's it. Yeah.
Nothing other, no eventful happenings.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, it's getting dark.
Right. Yeah.
We'll close off, and thank you for watching. Until next week.
Thank you very much.
Bye.